Hi, I'm Michael, and if you've attended any of our Sage 50 Accounts webinars before, you might recognize my voice. Throughout March, we're running our next Digital Badge webinar series. This series helps you to get to grips with invoicing, improves your knowledge, and boosts your confidence when using Sage 50 Accounts. There are 6 different topics, each one being run twice so that you have the opportunity to attend. Sessions include the creation of product invoices and processing credit notes. We'll demonstrate how to add your company logo and your bank details to your invoices, so they not only look the part, but also help you to get paid. There's also more advanced topics such as understanding the discount options that are available. Attend any 5 of the 6 topics, plus one of our quiz sessions to test your knowledge, and you'll earn your digital badge. To check the topics, dates and times, and to register for your free place, head along to sage.co.uk/webinars. I hope to see you there.
Hi everybody. If you're looking to streamline your day-to-day bookkeeping and keep your accounts accurate with less manual work, now is the perfect time to get familiar with bank feeds in Sage 50 Accounts. We're running a 2-part webinar series that will guide you through everything you need to know, from getting set up to confidently managing your reconciliations. In part 1, we'll focus on the essentials to get you up and running with bank feeds. We'll walk you through connecting your bank to Sage 50 Accounts. Following that, we'll look at how to use the auto match option, which saves you time, and learn how Sage automatically matches your transactions. We'll then move on to manually matching transactions and show you how to create Sage transactions directly from the bank feeds window based on your imported transactions from your bank without needing to leave the bank feeds window. This keeps your workflow fast, tidy, and all in one place. We'll explain how to review your approved match transactions and exactly what to look out for and how to keep everything accurate. We'll complete part 1 by demonstrating how bank feeds integrate into your reconciliation process. Part 2 covers creating and setting up rules. These are used to automatically process transactions as they download from your bank. You can create up to 300 rules for each bank account, so this can be a great time saver and where bank feeds really comes into its own. These are sessions all about giving you confidence while saving you time and keeping your accounts up to date with less effort. Join us live where we'll be hosting both webinars with demonstrations and practical guidance throughout. Don't miss this opportunity to make your bank reconciliation faster, smarter and easier. Reserve your place today at sage.co.uk/webinars, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Michael. I'm going to be your host for around about the next hour. So just myself running this session with you all today. So do bear with me if you have any questions. We'll try and get round to them as best I can. Right, today though, we're looking at getting started with Copilot in Sage 50 Accounts. So hopefully we'll be covering all aspects of that to give you a good idea of what it's all about. You've probably heard quite a bit about it by now, seen it advertised, probably seen it advertised on TV and online, and if you've got social media, you probably can't miss it. So we'll give you a good idea of what it's all about today. Right, now before we get stuck in, I'll quickly run you through just a little bit of housekeeping. So you don't need a microphone for our sessions. All the sessions are pretty much the same. They're all free to attend as well. So you don't need a microphone. If you've got one and you've enabled one, as you join the session, you'll just find you're muted automatically. You can't unmute yourself, so you can't actually speak to us as such. But you can submit questions and comments. To do that, you just click the little speech bubble icon. So give it a click. It should expand the panel down the right-hand side of your screen. You've got a box then in the bottom right-hand corner. Comments, questions, pop them in there, click send. It's available to you throughout this session this afternoon. So do engage with me. Anything you're not sure about or want to ask, pop it in. There is an opportunity to download a copy of today's slides as well. Quite a bit to get through in today's session, quite a bit to show you. So if you do want a copy of today's slides, those are available to download while you're on the session. You will receive a follow-up email around about an hour after we finish. That will include a link to today's recording. It will also include two further links. One link will be to our webinar registration page. So if you're looking to attend future sessions, we've got loads booked in for throughout March. Obviously, it's an ongoing service as well. So all of those free to attend. So if you do fancy any of them, get yourself registered for your free spot. Hopefully we'll see you on some of them. Next week, our next digital badge series starts as well. So we're going to be looking at invoicing. If you want to earn that digital badge, then you can get yourself registered. The second link that you are going to receive on that follow-up email will be to our recordings page. So if there's any other topics you'd like to see and find out about, help you learn more about your software and build your confidence and your knowledge, then do check that out as well. So it's good opportunity or good alternative to attending the live sessions if you can't make it, or it's maybe just not convenient for whatever reason. Right, so let's have a look at our agenda though. So this is what we're going to cover this afternoon. So we're going to start with a bit of an introduction. So first of all, who can access Copilot? So availability wise, how you can find out more to get for help and support with it. And also I'm going to show you how to activate it today as well, if you haven't already. Now, the caveat on that one is I'm going to be using the latest version, so version 33. So we'll look at maybe slightly different the way you initially access it just to switch it on, but the process is pretty much the same to get that activated. Once we've done that, we'll run through a few get my tongue tied there. Once we've done that, we'll run through demonstrations just to show you the key benefits of Copilot. So we'll be looking at the insights, report with Copilot, detailed analysis, and of course, the latest addition to Copilot is payment reminders. But also, what's next? So what's beyond what's currently available? So what can you expect? How can you get involved? So I'm going to show you how you can get involved, how you can provide your feedback once you're up and running with it. And then right at the end, we'll explain more about the additional support. And obviously, if there are any outstanding questions, I'll try and pick those up for you as well. If there's any I can't answer today, or maybe I get inundated, I'm not expecting to, but if I do, what I'll do is I'll just go away, I'll find an answer for you, and we'll drop you an email at some point this afternoon. So don't worry, you will get an answer to your question. Right, so let's start with a little bit of an introduction. So who can access it first of all? So you will have noticed when you registered that it does say UK only, and that's one of the key things with accessing it. So to be able to access Copilot currently, you need to be on version 31.1 or above. So 33 is the latest version, and the more up to date you are, obviously the more options that you're going to have. I'll point out the differences along the way between versions, give you an idea of what came in when. But you need to be on version 33.1 or above to at least have access to the very first features when Copilot was first introduced. You need to be on standard or the professional level of the software, and you need to be based in the UK. And hot off the press, version 33.1. So we're expecting that to maybe start being available at some point during April. So watch out for that. You'll hear about that nearer the time. A couple of things to mention on that one is in 33.1, anyone using the client manager level of the software will then have Sage Copilot available to them. So if you're an accountant and you're using Client Manager, you haven't got it just yet, but once 33.1 is out there, it will be added onto your license. So you should then be able to access that. Now, your current subscription should include a single user license. So single user license. By default, you probably find that's allocated to your manager logon Obviously, you can change that if required. You can move it around. So if you're the manager, or you use the manager login, but maybe you activate Copilot, but actually you're not going to be the user of Copilot in the software, then you can always allocate that one user license to a different user. Now, additional licenses can be added, but I would say, rather than go through that rigmarole of adding extra licenses and getting that knocked off your subscription, maybe a month or two later, I would tend to hang on for 33.1 rather than add licenses. In 33.1, as I mentioned, we're looking probably sometime in April for that. In 33.1, Copilot access will be for all users. So it's one of the bits of feedback we've got at the minute is obviously you want more than a single user license, so that will be added into your subscription. So any user of Sage 50, they will have potentially the ability to access Copilot. If required, you can control who has access to Copilot and who doesn't. And the features that they have available will reflect or will be reflected by their access levels in the software. So for instance, if they don't have access to let's say they don't have access to the suppliers area, they still wouldn't have access to the Copilot insights available in that area. So Copilot will look at the access levels and reflect that in the information that's available. So that's accessibility. Some of you will have seen it in your software, some of you may not. Initially, when we started running these sessions way back in version 31.1, and just prior to the release of that, people would be saying, well, I haven't got that. I meet the criteria, but I still haven't got that. If you are in that position and you still can't see the options for Copilot, just within your software, you would go to Tools, and then you should have an option to refresh license. And it will just reread your license from the license server, and probably in the majority of cases we saw that was then enabled within the software, so they could then see the Copilot options. So just wanted to cover that just before anyone said, oh, I haven't got it available. You must meet that criteria. So remember 33.1 will be then be available Client Manager and for all users then as well. So not quite there yet, but the rest of it is. Now, as far as sort of getting up and running with it, I'm going to show you how to activate it in a moment. But in our Help Center, there's a dedicated area to Sage Copilot. So when you go to sage.co.uk/help, in fact, I'll quickly show you this. So I'll just share my screen, share my desktop so you can see me working there. Right, you should see that now. And I'll just quickly open my browser. And I'm going to go to sage.co.uk/help. So it'll take you to this page. So it will list all of the Sage products. So the key ones being readily available. Obviously, there's a lot more as well. But if we go to Sage 50 accounts, which is what we're looking at today, it'll take you to this page. And there is a Copilot panel. And when you click that, it will give you access to the information that you need to get the best from Copilot. So introduction, activating it, using it, and then probably some of the more recent features, report with Sage Copilot, and all those, also the automated payment reminders. Obviously, we're going to be going through those in the session today. So nice and easy to get at that information should you need that extra little bit of help. Right, we'll head back to the slides. And next, we're going to cover activation. So I'm going to show you what it looks like to, so you obviously we call this session Get Up and Running with Copilot. We want you to see how to do that. Now, what I'm going to show you at this point, I'll just quickly pop back to my desktop. And what I'm going to show you is if you're on version 33, I'm getting mixed up with the version numbers now. So if you're on version 33 and you haven't yet activated Copilot, when you go into version 33, you will get this prompt. So try Sage Copilot today. So when you've logged on, you're going into your company, you're going to get this prompt. Now, with Copilot, it's classed as a connected service. So other connected services include things like remote data access, bank feeds, auto entry. So those web-based services as well, which integrate with Sage 50 accounts. So Sage Connect, Sage AI document capture, they're all classed as what we term a connected service. So basically, apps that integrate with Sage. So if when you enable your connected services, your standard sort of log on into the software will switch, and it will then essentially activate what we term two-factor authentication. So you'll be familiar with that from other websites. When you access it, there's this extra level of security where it will ping you a 6-digit ID number, and now and again you will be prompted to re-authenticate with that. So you've got that extra level of security built into your software. Now, if you activate Copilot fully, that will then be rolled out to all users. So all users will then need a Sage account, which is nice and easy to set up, but they'll be logging in instead with an email address and a password. Now, if prior to version 33, if you'd wanted to try Copilot, you had to fully activate Copilot. And it meant that you would have had to roll that out to all of your colleagues. So we've introduced this so you can have a go of Copilot. So you need to be on version 33 to be prompted with this. And it means that you can click the option and you can give it a go without having to enable two-factor authentication for all of your users. Now I'm just going to close out for the time being. Now obviously you can try that as much as you need to. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch companies. I'm going to switch to a company, actually, we'll stick with this one. I'm going to show you how to activate it at this stage. Now, there's a couple of different scenarios, and it will look a little bit different depending on your version and your level. But generally, it's the same sort of process. We've got extra, if you are on version 33, you're going to have obviously the prompt at the top there to activate Sage Copilot. Other areas, if you went into the likes of customers, you'll have the Sage Copilot option, or maybe called Copilot Insights, depending on your version. But it will be the little icon on the end of your toolbar. It's available in a few different areas. Now, you will need to connect a Sage account to use Copilot. Now, you can tell if you've already done that by going to Settings and User Management and Users. So on my user list, you can see Manager has a Sage account linked to it. If it doesn't, all you would do is you would just edit your user and there'll be a prompt to get you started to connect that Sage account. If you don't have a Sage account, which you should do, it will prompt you to create one there and then, similar for your users at some point as well. But that's how I can see if I've already got a Sage account attached to my Sage Accounts software. Now, when you do, it makes it really easy. So if I go via any option to activate Sage Copilot, I'll just click that link at the top. Similar to the prompt that I got when I was logging in, it was saying, wait, do you want to give it a try? So I'm going to say I want to activate Sage Copilot. If you've got other users, what we can do is we can choose, like, do we want them to be added or do we want to remove them from the list? I'll just remove that user. And I'm going to click continue. So choose the user to get started with Sage Copilot. Again, you can add more users if you want to. And remember, as I mentioned, when 33.1 becomes available, it will be available for all your users. So you don't need to add additional licenses or anything like that. So I'm just going to use this one. Click continue, and then I'll click activate. So we'll get the spinning wheel. working from home today as well, so might be a little bit slower than what I would otherwise expect, but we'll just let that run through. And obviously that's going to say, right, you've successfully activated Sage Copilot once that's done. You can see it's mentioning that it's sending invites to the users, so it'll fire out emails, updating user details, and it now says Sage Copilot is active for your company. I can just close that. That means that the bar at the top, it changes. So I can now see Sage Copilot as active. Again, to have that bar at the top, you need to be on version 33. It doesn't say that on previous versions. Still be available to you though. So you would just go into customers, and then these options are going to give you access to things like Copilot Insights. Right, so that's how easy it is to activate it. Always get asked about, can you show that? So there you go. It's as easy as that. Right, so pop back to the slides. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Copilot before we start using it. Right, so Copilot, when it was originally released, it made available what we term Copilot Insights. So giving you insights into different areas of your business. So the Copilot Insights, that Sage Copilot icon, you'll find it available in the following ledgers. So you'll see it, already seen it in customers, but the same for suppliers, products and services, nominal codes, and also the transactions area. So that's what you would have had originally when you were on 31.1 if you activate Copilot. You get Copilot Insights. We'll be having a look at these in just a moment. Now, the insights themselves, they concentrate on key business areas. So based on feedback at the time, it's where would you want it to support you? How would you want it to support you? So things like top themes coming back, debt management, inventory management, business performance, anomaly detection, so trying to find processing errors, and also reporting analysis. Obviously, reporting it's a big theme of Copilot. You'll see that throughout as we start using it. Eddie, you mentioned there, can you amend the email address for a user, i.e. manager? A user, really easy. Just be a case of going into that and amending it. For a manager, a little bit more difficult, but again, if you are on version 33, it makes it a little bit easier. So easy to change if you haven't yet set up any connected services yet. If you are on version 33, though, we introduced an option where you can update the manager's email address. Makes it a little bit easier to go through that. You can't do it within the cycle, the sort of the activation process. That would ideally you would want to do that before you activate Copilot. But you find loads of information in the Help Center on that one. And if you get stuck, because there's a few different scenarios on what you need to do for that one, you can just get in touch with our support team and they'll guide you through that to make sure that's done properly for you. But anyway, coming back to Copilot Insights, these are the key themes that were identified when we did our research as to initially what people would want assistance with. So we're going to see it in action in just a moment. I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of those key themes, first of all. So debt management, you'll find it available within the customers' insights. So that little icon on the end of the customer toolbar, when we click that, you're going to get a panel opening up. Similar to if you access the F1 Help, for instance. It'll bring up a panel down the right-hand side of your screen. The panel will contain various bits of information. So a summary of your overdue invoices and those due that are going to be due soon. You'll be able to drill down into that information as well. So it's giving you top level information, which it's always going to do, but it also gives you the opportunity to sort of drill down into that information should you need to. You'll be able to send statements, also add reminders to the Sage Diary as well, if you're not ready to action something. And we'll see a little bit later on with the introduction of 32.1, we added the payment reminder functionality. So we'll be demonstrating that one a little bit later, and you would access that through the Copilot Insight. So the current Copilot Insight looks a little bit different to what I've got on the screenshot, but this is what you'd see if you were on version 31.1 or 32.0. But you'll see that, obviously the latest one, when we start running through a few demos in a few minutes. For inventory management, helping you to stay on top of your products and services. So it's going to summarize items that are out of stock, low on stock, items that are likely to be out of stock in the next 30 days. Again, you'll be able to drill into that. Now, obviously, when you first start using this, you might find you a bit more of in a reactive position. So reacting to what it's prompting you for. So you probably find there's quite a few items out of stock you hadn't realized. But obviously, the more you access it, the earlier on in that sort of process, that timeline, it's going to find that. So as they become, when it identifies as likely to be out of stock soon, it's a bit earlier on in the cycle, giving you time to get on top of that. So a bit more of a proactive approach then. So it lets you take that timely action just to ensure you've got optimum stock levels. Now you'll be able to view and reorder stock. And if you're using the professional edition, you will have the option to seamlessly create a purchase order from that list as well. If you're on standard or professional, you'll also have the option just to print or export that list. For business performance, as you'd probably expect, lots of information available. So nominal codes, customers, suppliers, all giving you that top level information. You might want to view things like profit sort of a month on month comparison, year on year. Again, so you can start spotting those trends and see how you're performing against previous periods. You'll be able to drill down on things like sales and expenditure. It'll link off to other reports as well. So yes, that information is readily available, but via other reports, but you don't need to go and run those. It'll just provide that information for you. So almost like I suppose what we sometimes describe as more of a digital assistant. So again, helping you to spot trends on previous periods, there's graph options, etc. as well. Now, probably my favorite of the 5 insight areas that are available is anomaly detection, which is available within transactions. And whenever we release any sort of update or feature which helps with identifying processing errors or avoiding that in the first place, it's always received really, really well. So many, many years ago, the VAT return wizard, I'm sure hopefully you're familiar with that one, it's got verification settings in there. So it'll try and identify potential processing errors, things you might have missed. You've got options when you're entering just generally in your software, when you're entering batch invoices, batch credits. There are options where it can try and identify, is it a duplicate transaction? Again, helping you to avoid being in that position. So anything like that goes down really well. So anomaly detection available within transactions is no different. It's been really well received, this one. So this is going to highlight unusual activity based on your historical information. If you've just started using Sage and you haven't got that much in there yet, then you might find it picks up some very unusual stuff and you think, well, actually, that's quite normal, that one. Just you haven't built up that history yet. Whereas if you've got a lot of information, you can probably expect it to be a bit more accurate in it finding anomalies. So it's going to try and look for transactions with unexpected nominal codes, tax codes, unexpected transaction amounts, unexpected VAT amounts. Now, it's not just necessarily saying, right, that's wrong, because you are going to have one-off transactions here and there. You might have a big capital purchase and you think, well, actually, yeah, it's a bit unusual. That's why, because it's a massive capital expenditure. So that's why it's unusual. So it will try and identify that for you. And you'll have the option when you drill into these options to review the transaction. So you see what's happened. You'll be able to correct it there and then. Or you can just say, actually, I want you to ignore that one. It's actually right. So it's a bit like verification settings in the VAT return wizard, where it's saying, right, we've identified this. It's not necessarily saying it's wrong. It's just saying it's a bit unusual. So If you compare that to the VAT verification transaction not using your most commonly used tax code. So as I say, that's been received really well, that one. And then the final one I want to quickly mention is reporting analysis. So this available, again, reporting. There's a lot of information available in the insights on reporting where you can drill down, run reports. But key area is going to be nominal codes, customer supplier ledgers. You'll be able to run profit and loss information. You'll be able to drill on it for detailed breakdown. Again, you've got those year-on-year comparisons. Depending what area you're in as well, it'll help you to understand things like customer turnover averages, possibly even customers to target. So where maybe their turnover is below the average. Is it worth targeting them or not? Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to play a little video for you on the anomaly detection side of things. So I'll quickly share that and then I'll come back to you live in just a couple of minutes.
The Copilot Insight for anomaly detection is all about helping you to improve and maintain the accuracy of your data. We all know it's easy to make a mistake, such as specifying the wrong tax code for a transaction, so anything that helps has got to be positive. The Insight helps to identify potential issues, and to keep things simple and streamlined, enables you to easily edit the transaction and make corrections there and then. The Copilot Insight is accessed from the transactions ledger. Insights are grouped into nominal codes, tax codes, and amounts. Check tax codes shows the number of transactions where the tax codes are different to the usual ones that have been used on the account in the past. Clicking transactions with unexpected tax codes lists the relevant transactions. If you're working in a specific period, you can easily narrow down the date range by applying a filter rather than working on the default group covering the last 12 months. You can even apply a filter so only specific transaction types appear. You can search within the results and also have the flexibility of exporting the list, for example, if you prefer working in Excel. Each transaction shows the current details and the suggested correction. For added flexibility and speed, you can then action changes there and then. Edit brings up the familiar Edit Transaction window, so if required, you can make the correction there and then. If you've already corrected it outside of the Copilot Insight, simply flag it. Then finally, when a correction isn't required, for example, you've posted a transaction which is a one-off and it's picked up as an anomaly, you can flag to ignore it. As transactions are flagged, they'll be moved to the appropriate tab. If you're a bit too quick and accidentally ignore a transaction, then don't worry, this can easily be undone. The main list can also easily be refreshed at any time, meaning you can quickly ensure you're up to date if other users are currently processing before you close out.
Okay, I'm back live with you at that point. So back to my desktop. So once Copilot is active, the insights, nice and easy. If you're on version 33 as well, you'll have these, what we term these, the Copilot Sparkle. So these little sort of star icons next to the ledgers that would give you access to the Copilot Insight. But it's against the 5 that we mentioned earlier. So we just go into the likes of customers, and then on your last icon on your toolbar, Sage Copilot. Now it might be called Copilot Insights if you're on a version prior to version 33. So again, it just brings up this panel, bit of scrolling involved for myself because I've got a really low resolution to make things that little bit bigger. Hopefully you can read things on my screen, see them quite clear. But obviously you can make that a bit wider as well. Customer insights, so you've got your business performance at the top here. Again, you can drill down on that information. You've got your debt summary, which we're going to go into in a bit more detail in a little bit later on in the webinar. And then you've got things like your report summary, so things like your sales ledger turnover. So you just click begin analysis, off you go. So it's available in customers, suppliers, you've got a similar option. So we just click Sage Copilot, opens the panel. Down the right, you're going to have the relevant options. And that goes again for products and services. So remember where it's going to identify those items out of stock, low on stock, and those that are expected to be out of stock very soon. Your nominal codes, more of your reporting analysis in there, and then your transactions for your anomaly detection. So that's how you can access it once it's enabled. But remember, you've got currently you'll have a single user license for Sage Copilot. So if by default it's going to be allocated to manager, so my other users wouldn't be able to access that. Right, let's head back to the slides for a minute. So you've seen the Copilot Insights in action. Once you enable it, have a go of those. Now that was 33.1, so that's what you can expect to see in 33.1. In version 32, obviously based on the feedback we got, I'm going to show you how you can get involved in that type of feedback later on. So in version 32, two key features were added. One is report with Copilot. So the ability to create your own reports. Now the reports are available from any reporting area within Sage. So if you went into customers and reports, you'd have a report with Copilot option. If you go into, let's say, nominal codes and reports, transactions reports, anywhere where you've got a reports ledger, in there you will have the report with Copilot icon, or if you are on version 33, it will now just be called Sage Copilot, just to make it extra confusing. Now you can access it, as I mentioned, from any ledger that has a reports option. You'll be able to create customized transaction-based reports around the audit trail summary. Now your audit trail summary is basically your transactions list. So when you go to transactions down the left-hand side of your screen, it lists all your invoice, what you would term your audit trail, so invoices, payments, receipts, journals, all of those transactions. You can run or create reports based around those. We get so many requests virtually every day. I need a report of, or I need a list of such and such. So you can basically enter a message into that module. Ask whatever it is you're after. So it gives you some examples. I want to show all sales invoices over £500 from last month, sorted by date with customer names. Now on that screenshot, it mentions, it's about the 4th paragraph, Copilot doesn't support advanced requests yet, such as reports with groupings or conditional formatting. It does now support groupings. So when we released this, probably the big bit of feedback we got or received was, right, well, it gives me a list of customer invoices, for instance, but I want them grouped by customer. So you couldn't do that initially, but you can now. So you can see I want them grouped by customer. I want totals. So grouping and totals were added in 32.1. So it's just a case of you accessing that and basically typing in a message for what you're after. So let's give it a quick try. Obviously, you've come here today to see some demonstrations, so I'll share my screen. And we'll get stuck in. So as I mentioned, we can go into any ledger. So let's just pop into suppliers and we go into reports. And on my toolbar at the top, you're either going to have report with Copilot, or if you're up to date on version 33, it'll just be called Sage Copilot. So we give it a click, it'll launch the panel down the right-hand side. It'll bring up similar information to what you've just seen on my screenshot there. and it gives you some options as well. So just to try and save a little bit of time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight that. I'm just going to copy it, and rather than me sit there typing it in, I'll just got to paste it into that box at the bottom. So put your query in there. What is it you're after? So pop in your query, click send, go away, it'll analyze what you're after, it'll process, and it's come back, right, summary of my request. Now, if it doesn't fully understand or it thinks, right, there's more options, it might come back and say, right, do you want them for the, like they say, the current year, the current calendar year, the financial year, what information or what level of information do you want to show? So it might come back and ask you additional questions just in case if you're answering that. But in this case, it's just come back, right, can you confirm that this is what you want? So if I just type confirm, click send. So again, it's going to process. And the idea is it will generate a report for me. So a report design. It'll save it, and it should give me the opportunity to save it as a Sage report as well. So it's asking me to name the report. So I do this quite often. So what I'll do is I'm just going to call it report, and I'm going to put today's date in there, just so I can identify it. We'll submit that. Now, for those of you that might have spent the time, you might have well learned how to design your reports yourself. The idea is we get so many users that just don't bother, or you just look at report design and think that's too complicated. And there's already hundreds of reports provided for you. So this is just a nice, easy option. If I just preview that report, telling me no data. Just my luck. I've created a report and I haven't got any data based on that. So let me just close out. I'll show you some examples of ones I've done earlier. But that would have been saved as a standard report. Now, because the reports are based around your transactions list, so this list here, when you go into transactions, if you design any report, it'll try and save it to the sort of the my customer reports or my supplier reports or my nominal reports, depending where you are. So no matter when you access Copilot, it's all based around your transactions list. So if I go into reports now and I go into my transaction reports, you would be able to see that the report that we just generated, if I just scroll down, it's tagged onto the bottom. I'm not going to do that one because obviously didn't find any information there based on what we're after. So let's just run this one. So it's a standard report. Obviously, I'm probably want to give it a better file name than just the date I created that on. So if I just preview that one, and as you can see, it generates that for me. So in this instance, it looks like it's a list of invoices. They're in value descending order. And it should have, if I keep scrolling down, it's my main customer as well. Oh, sorry, just you nearly see it there, just the way it's split on the page. It's got the totals in there as well. Well, that's a standard report. I could always highlight that report. I can start editing it in report design if I want to. So it makes it nice and easy. So if you have activated Copilot, have a go of that. Just a case of going in any reports area, you click Sage Copilot, it'll launch that panel down the side for you, start popping in your messages, see what you can generate. Just expect to see a lot more changes to that and advances to that going forward. Right, if we pop back to the slides for a moment, I just want to introduce another option that was introduced in 32.1, and it was the Copilot detailed analysis. Try and click the right button, that would help if I share the screen with you. So this is something that was added to the nominal codes insight. So it enables you, rather than just running a P&L or a balance sheet, it enables you to quickly analyze how your business is performing. So it's available for profit and loss and balance sheets, you can choose. And it surfaces key information, and not just like numerical information. It will provide you what I refer to as a commentary style analysis. So rather than me just talk about that, I'm going to show you what it looks like. Right, again, you should see my screen. So we're going to go into nominal codes. Again, you've got that little sparkle there because I am in version 33. Into Sage Copilot. So this is the Copilot Insight. Prior to 32.1, you would have just saw this sort of this top section. That's what you would have in your Insight, but this is, you've now got the detailed analysis. So if we just click on the Analyze P&L option, choose your criteria. Obviously, that criteria is based around your current financial year. So similar to your standard P&L report, for instance. So we'll just run it for the full financial year. Confirm that. So it does a bit of extraction, finds out what data it needs. It'll analyze that data, and then it's going to come back with its analysis. So this is what as I say, this is what I would term more of a, it's not just a P&L, it's your, what I term the commentary style analysis. So it's telling me what chart of accounts it's used. Obviously, I wasn't prompted for the chart of accounts. It's just picked up whichever I've got flagged as the default. So it's showing me the period. It's highlighting the strengths, any weaknesses. Again, conclusion on that as well. So again, give that a go. See how you get on with it. So nice and easy to access. You'll find that one in nominal codes. Right, again, back to the slides. Remember, if you want a copy of today's slides, you can download those while you are on the session today. So quite a bit to take in. So 32.1, we've already covered report with Copilot, and it added that ability to group your information together, or when you're creating reports, but also subtotals as well. The other big feature is payment reminder automation. So this is where you're starting to see help with tasks in Copilot. Again, I think there's a lot of these probably still to come. But payment reminder automation, so improving your debt management processes. Makes it very easy to send out emails. But also, as well as just helping you sort of send out one-off emails, you can also automate that as well. So you can automate that task so that you can just say, right, well, I want you to automate it. When it hits that sort of point in time, I want you to send out the emails for me. So helping you to get paid. Make sure it's on time. So you can pick and choose what you want to what you want to send to your customers and when. So let's have a look at that in the software. So we'll go back to my desktop. We're going to go into customers and access the Sage Copilot. Now, to access the payment reminders, you need to access the debt summary. So prior to 32.1, you would have just been given a list of invoices, and you didn't have the payment reminders. You could send out things like send out statements to your customers. You could send them a copy of the invoice. But in 32.1, if we go into debt management, it'll launch the window for us. Now, if anyone's used bank feeds before, you'd be familiar with these new style sort of help windows that pop up. Now, I always think when I'm demoing, if I leave these switched on, it feels a little bit disjointed, but have a read through them when they first appear. You can always get rid of them. I never get rid of mine just for the purpose of the demos, but have a read through then. If you do want to get rid of them, you can say, don't show me this again. You can just tick the box. But otherwise, I'm going to continue to debt management. And this is what it looks like. So you've got some totals. You've got a breakdown of what's overdue. You've got a breakdown of upcoming. Now, this is really quick as well. So in the past, you might have had to, when you've done things where it's a connected service, you might have had to wait for a sync to happen. But let's just quickly pop an invoice on there. Go into invoices and credits. We'll do a new invoice. And I'll just do it for the first customer. It doesn't really matter who it's for or what it's for that matter. I'll just do one of those. I'll save it. That's fine. Right. Okay, so we've just entered an invoice there, so it should be on the end of my list. Just close out of that screen. Now this invoice on the end that I've just entered, it wouldn't be picked up by the insight just yet, or the debt management, because we haven't updated that to the ledgers. In fact, what I'm going to do with this one, I just want to make it so it's due in the next few days. We'll bring that back up. I nearly forgot. I'm going to change this date. So actually we'll change a couple of dates. I'm going to set this one back. We'll say the 23rd. And I'm going to change this date as well, just so we can get it due in the next few days. Let's just say it's due tomorrow as an example. I'll save that. Right, let's close. Right, let's close out of that window. What I'm going to quickly do, I want to update this one to the ledgers, so we'll highlight it. We'll update ledgers. Just send that to preview, and then we'll quickly cancel out. I'll not bother with the update ledgers report. But that will now be reflected in my customer balance. So we can see it's flagged as posted. So we pop back to customers and back into the Sage Copilot to access the insights. And into debt management. And if we pop into the upcoming, you can see that the invoice that we've literally just entered there, it's pulled it straight through. So we're not waiting for anything. We're not waiting for anything to sync over the internet or anything like that. It's there straight away as soon as you access it. Now in here, obviously we've got two tabs split between overdue and upcoming. So what will be due in the next 7 days, essentially. Now from here, obviously it lists the detail, so we can link to the transaction number if we want to. We just give it a click, and it would allow us to view the transactional information. We could click into the link to the customer's account. Nice and easy to access that. Just click the link. You can make any changes while you're there if needed. You got your details, so it's saying 1 day, or days till due, 1 in this instance. We got the reference, which is invoice 95 in this instance, bit of detail. It's telling me what's outstanding. It's telling me no reminders have been sent, so nothing's been processed just yet. And if I click into the chase history, we can see no history available just yet. So we haven't done anything with that one yet. Haven't had a chance, I've just literally entered it. If we go into actions though, we can choose what we want to do. So do we want to just say, just remind me later on, I've not got time to action that one just yet. I can generate a statement and email that out to a customer, but I could also choose to compose a reminder email. Now, when we do compose the reminder email, a lot of that information is already completed for you. Now, you can change this information if required. So for instance, it's going to pick up email address 1 from that specific customer's record. Obviously, you've got up to 6 email addresses to choose from in a customer record these days. You've got your subject line. It's suggested one for you. So it'll say the word invoice and pull through the invoice number and its due date. You can change that if you want to. You might even want to include your company name in there. You've got an option to draft with Copilot. So there's a standard message here with sort of standard email where it's going to put, you can see where it's going to pull information through as well, but you can change it if you want to. You could say, well, actually, I want a shorter email or a longer email, and then you would just draft with Copilot and it would reword it for you. If you want to insert additional fields, you can show them, display them on the side. Choose what it is you want to insert. It's just a case of positioning your mouse. So let's say I wanted to put one in there. It's that easy. Knock that one back out because it doesn't look very good. But as you can see, it's easy to insert additional fields. You've got a little tick box at the bottom as well. So you can say add an entry to the customer communications. So when it actually sends it, it'll keep track of what's being sent in the communications tab of the customer record. Now, if I was happy with that, I would just click send. Tells me it's been sent successfully. Now, you might find that you need to configure your email settings. It should pick them up from your layouts automatically. If they're not set, it will prompt you for that. You can choose which layouts you use as well. So an email has been sent and it would have attached a copy of the invoice. So I can choose in manage layouts. If you've designed your own layout, you can just browse and select it. Similar for statements. You've got your own, maybe you've included your logo on your statement layout, etc. Just a case of browsing to choose that. You'll recognize the list when you go to access. So you'll be able to select yours from the list. Now, very easy to do it manually. So just a case of from the actions, drop down, choose compose a reminder email. Obviously, these are the ones at this stage that are approaching the due date. The ones that are overdue, you've got similar options. Nice and easy. So Copilot in the debt management area, it does make it a lot easier just to start sending out those emails. Makes it really easy to work in that area. But if you want to automate it, you've got this option, manage automated reminders. Now, this is very similar to what we've just looked at. You can choose your schedule settings. Now, there's one option in here which I want to point out to you. And when we click it, there'll be an option here that says, when should the emails be sent? Now, I think by default, I'm sure this is set to something like 1 o'clock in the morning by default. So do be aware of that. So when it hits the point and it says, right, we're now due to send this email, at what time of the day do you want that to be sent? So you can choose that. Obviously, you can disconnect as well. But you've got 4 types of email that can be sent: upcoming, which we just looked at, overdue, warning, and then your legal action. So I suppose as it progresses through that credit control cycle, you would change the severity of the warning and the demand for payment. You can choose which of these you want to use. And you can, for each of them, you can also customize the templates. So we just looked at a one like this. Now, when you come into the automated area, the only difference is this little section here. So by default, this would be 7 days before. So obviously it depends on your credit terms and when you want to send that reminder out, you can choose. It would default to 7 though. So basically, as soon as it hits that point in time, so in my case, 3 days before the due date, I want it to generate an email based on these settings, this format, and send it. It's that easy. And you can choose essentially the timing for each of those other ones there as well. So each of these will have, just have a look at this one, the overdue reminder. Again, this is now 7 days after the due date. You might want to reduce that. So if a customer hasn't paid, you're right on top of them straight away, chasing them for payment. But again, you can change all the wording, etc. of that. But you can pick and choose which ones you want to send, when they get sent, and also what that looks like. Again, have a look at that. So for you mentioned there, is there a way to set up reminders per customer instead of per invoice? Not currently. It would send I believe currently it will always send a separate reminder per invoice. I would encourage it to feed that back though. That's something you really want to see. And that's what we're going to move on to next. Now, I appreciate the time, but just bear with me. I just want to quickly cover this last little bit and then we'll wrap up. And if there's any final questions, I'll pick those up as well. So we've covered Copilot in its current form. Obviously, we expect to see a lot more development of that going forward. And with everyone getting free access to Copilot as part of your subscription and all your users from 33.1 onwards, we're expecting a lot more requests to come through. So you have your say. Get involved. Let us know. What do you want to see next? Does it work, Harriet, in its current form? Would you like to see it change? So Sophie's request there. I'd like to see it group customer emails together. Get it submitted. You can do that via the Ideas portal. Now, the easiest way to access the Ideas portal, obviously download the slides and you can click the link, or I'll very, very quickly go back to the software, just show you this one. If you've been on my webinars before, you'll know that I like to demonstrate this one. Within the software, if you go to the home page and then just scroll down, you've got an option called Roadmap, the bottom left corner. So you click Roadmap, it'll take you to this web page, and here's where you can give you an idea. If you're a few versions behind, or you think, right, well, actually, I'm on the latest version, but what was introduced over the last few versions, you can see. Have a look at this area, delivered. You can see what's coming next, what we're working on going forward. But this is where you can have your say. You can click the link. It'll take you to this web page, which is it's a small area of our community hub. But this is where you can add your ideas and your suggestions. You can have a look at those ideas as well. So let's see, what's the most recent? So when was this one? So just today. Well, just about 15 minutes ago, this one was recorded. Something to do with that incorrectly posted. Assign identity labels to address lines. So you can do all of that. Anything and everything, pop it on there. Sometimes we'll see a lot of requests go on there and you think, actually, that's already in there. You can already do that. You just haven't seen the setting. So again, you would get a response to that. Might be in here. Actually, you've already got that and you just haven't seen it in the new version yet. But if you want to get involved, that's how. Keep saying there's no bad ideas. The only bad ideas are the ones you don't share, the ones that you keep to yourself. So get involved, let us know. Right, now that does bring us to the end of this afternoon session. We're just about bang on time there. If you've got any final questions, if you want to pop them in there, and I will pick them up in just a moment. Remember, if you want a copy of today's slides, do take that opportunity, download them now. And as you leave today's session, there will be an opportunity to complete our short survey. If you can take a minute to do that. Did the webinar prove useful for you? Did it not? Did it cover what you expected? Let us know. You will receive that follow-up email in round about an hour's time. So if you want a bit of a recap on what we covered today, just watch out for that one. It'll include the link to the recording. If you're looking to attend other webinars, our next Digital Badge series starts on Tuesday, I think it is, Tuesday afternoon. Get yourself signed up for some of those sessions. So we're concentrating on invoicing throughout March. Loads of topics though, bank feeds, year-end. We're covering year-end related and month-end related tasks as well, such as accruals and prepayments, depreciation. There's a wide range of topics on offer in March, all free to attend. So please have a look, get yourself signed up if you are interested. Right, I've got no additional questions being submitted, so we'll end the webinar at that point. If you do think of any, get in touch. Just reply to any of the webinar emails, or they'll either come direct to myself or they'll come to our team mailbox, and we'll try and get an answer back to you as soon as we can. Many thanks for your time. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Do complete that survey, and I hope to see you again very soon. Many thanks.